Hello and welcome to Dubai Trains. And today we have something very exciting. I'm going to create my own railroad, the CD&TRRA. We're going to look at the location, the history, and its purpose. So someone play that beautiful intro so we can get started. This video is made possible by the Dubai Trains Patreons. Check how you can become a member to unlock extra content. As shown in my video number 76B, I really like the Kingsbury branch layout that Bill Denton made. It's very inspirational to me, and it's something I don't want to copy, I don't want to replicate, but something I'm looking to get the feel and to be inspired by. So here is the inception of my next layout and the railroad I'm going to model. A great starting point for this investigation is the Model Railroader edition of April 1975. The article has a lot of images, explains well how the line is operated and what the track does more or less. Has a little global area map right here, and then the map of the actual Kingsbury Street section, and a diluted version for the model railroader that you can model. Now, please do note, I don't want to copy this, I don't want to replicate this, I'm just inspired by it, and I want a bit more than only this street running section, so we do need to have a look. Let's get chopping at my own railroad. So what are we looking at? It is located in Chicago, sweet home Chicago, and as you see, Chicago was and still is just really a knot where all the railroads connect and tie in, and all the goods from the entire country, from east, west, north, south, they all come here. So you can see the whole list here of different railroads that went to Chicago at this time. I think this map is set to about 1950. Whereas the Kingsbury branch, it's not really visible on this map. One thing I do want to note is I got a lot of information from Dennis the Ruler. He did good research on this bridge that you see right here, and the bridge is connected almost next to the Kingsbury branch, so that there's a lot of information that overlaps. On that website is this map. So as you see, it's getting a little bit more detailed. This is a map of the Belt Railway Company of Chicago that basically connected all the other railroads to each other. If we look at the article from the Model Railroader, we can find a few things in there. It mentions, I think, Galewood, it mentions Western Avenue, and so we could tie these roads in there. But then it ends, it's supposed to be in this area, but it's just not shown on this map. So let's look at it. What other evidence we have? I'm talking about evidence because this is more than 100 years ago, guys. This map here, as well as you see, is from 1915, so well over 100 years. But this map is actually very interesting. It gives a top-down view of just basically how life was back in the day. Here on the Goose Island, you can see all the various industries. Division Street Yard, that's right here. The article also talks about that. South here, this is the Kingsbury Street, and also the section that was in the article. The line goes here south, and then we go here, this diagonal road just at the edge of the map. Erie Street, I believe is this one. Yeah, interesting stuff. Here is Goose Island set in modern times, just to give you an idea where it is. Lake Michigan is here on the right. This other black line that goes through the city, I think, is the railroad as it is today. And then the other unlit section is the river, Goose Island here in the middle, and it wiggles up here to the north. Now, Goose Island back in the day was very, very heavily polluted. Actually, most of Chicago was very polluted due to the industries, the coal power plants, and also due to the railroad itself. A lot of it was steam driven. So back in 1915, they did a research on where is all this pollution coming from and how can we deal with this. This is a 1,200-page document. It's such an interesting document. So here you see this is full of hand-drawn pie charts, and here images of the buggy they built to measure the pollution. It's actually a bit of a time warp. So why do I mention this document? Well, because it's full of maps of the entire Chicago area, because they want to document where the pollution is coming from. So that is absolutely great, because the pollution normally comes from the railroad and from the industries next to it. So we have this image, and if we just overlay the maps like that onto the image, then we can get a better understanding of what we're looking at. So that's what I did. Here's a map, and there were many, many more maps. I just tied them all together, and this is what we got. You can probably fill in half of Chicago, probably the entire Chicago with all the maps, but this is just the section that we're looking at that's interesting for us. The nice thing about the map is that it's a bit more detailed than the image it shows the track on it a little bit better. You can see the yard here, and then it goes up north, and then you could do a switch back to the line that's right here. It also has the owners of the railroad on it, which is great, you'll see in a bit. And of course, a lot of other railroads and information on here. So let us get our bearings. Here's the river, that's going to be important. And then here is the actual piece of track that I want to model. So the information and research you see here, I centralized it to my own Patreon page, and also the track diagrams that I made. So please do go there if you want to read into it, do your own research, or if you want to download the track diagrams. So we got a yard here, the Division Street yard, and then it goes, or it leads all the way to this Kingsbury slash city urban slash street running section that I find so interesting. Of course, if this is just your railroad, if you're just going to model this at home, there's absolutely no point. There's no purpose. Because by the time, let's say you would load a boxcar with goods right here, and you would have got a locomotive to pick it up, and you would have slowly moved it up all the way here to the other side of your little railroad, then it's way easier just to throw your goods here in a truck, take the street, and drive over there. It's quicker, it's easier, it saves fuel, so there's no point. So you need to connect it to the outer world. And as we saw before, the outer world is right there. And there are a lot of connections just for this purpose. Because let's say here, the Iowa grain district, well, if you want a loaf of bread in Chicago, that grain is not going to come from the rooftops of Chicago. So it needs to be brought in. If you want tea, it's probably going to come here from the New York port connection, where the tea came from Asia. And if you want some orange juice, that probably came here from, where is it here? California. And the same with coal, it came from the other side of the country. Same with oil, probably came from the south here, New Orleans, here at the bottom of the map. LA is there as well, yada yada, etc, etc. So let's have a look at the map, and you can really see there's a railroad right here, and it's written, it is the C&NW, which is the Chicago and Northwestern Transportation Company. And there's also actually a yard right there. If we zoom in to the map, we can see that here is the C&NW right here, and this is the line that we're talking about right here, across the water right there. And there's a little yard there to transfer cars from the C&NW onto our railroad. That's great, so we'll have one interchange there for our little railroad. And then there is the CMSTPNP here in purple, also known as the Chicago, Milwaukee, St. Paul, and Pacific Railroad. It's a mouthful. It was right here, it went off to the west, and it also had a connection right here, and it went to the north. I don't know exactly how they dealt with this piece of track, if they had trackage rights or something like that. Anyways, it goes here to the north, and for my own railroad, I don't want it to be north of the Division Street yard, because then you have two interchanges just north of the yard. So from an operation point of view, that would be more or less the same. So I'm going to move it, take the liberty and move it just right here after the Division Street yard, because that's what we can do with our model license. We can just move history around here and there. And then I want another connection here in the south, and that by a car float, and this one is going to go up the Chicago River or down the Chicago River, and it's maintained and connects to the Pennsylvania Railroad. Now we need to talk about ferries a little bit. Lake Michigan is right here, and there were ferries on Lake Michigan, but they did not go to Chicago. Pennsy had car ferries, but not on Lake Michigan. So it's a bit of a stretch until Richard Sieben came along, and he said, hang on a minute, there actually were car ferries, railroad ferries on the Chicago River. So silly me, I have just been looking at Lake Michigan all this time, and hiding in plain sight is the Chicago River. So send me this map. Thank you, Richard Sieben, for the information and for this map, where you can see the river right here, and there seems to be a car float situation. So where is this? Well, the map just didn't make any sense to me until I figured out the map was upside down. So now the roundhouse is right here, and Erie Street with this bridge that's removed on this diagram is right here. So if you look at the image, a roundhouse here, Erie Street right here with the bridge under an angle, and Kingsbury Street right here in the Dubai trains color. Then, lo and behold, right here, I just outlined it in red, is this little chop out where the barge could be, in this little yard right there. So another image Richard sent me is this one, where we can see a little chop out right here where the barge, the pontoon would stick in, and a track arrangement how they would use it. I'm not really interested in all these tracks right now because I don't really want to model this section. I don't have space for it. I don't find it that interested to model this, but it does justify this connection right here. And that's in the end what I'm after, is to put this railroad that I'm going to build into some kind of context and tie it up somewhere in the world, because it will probably make for a better model at the end of the day. So next up is now we have all this. Let's clean this up a bit, and it looks like this. So that looks a lot better. So everything in black is what I'm going to model. This railroad is actually going to be operated by an association. So the 1, 2, and 3 different railroads have all come together, and it's going to be called the Chicago Division, Street Yard, and Terminal Railroad Association. The CD&TRRA does not have any locomotive power owned by itself. That's all going to be provided by the Pennsylvania Railroad. So what does this look like in a line diagram? Well, it's very simple, just like this. So we have the CN and W interchange at the start, and then we have the Division Street Yard, and then we have the CM, St. Paul and P interchange. Then we have a section with the street running urban setting. I'm not going to call it the Kingsbury because, again, I'm not modeling that, so I'm going to call it near north. And why do I call it near north? Well, I looked up the map of Chicago with all the different neighborhoods, and here's the map. So we have Goose Island here in the middle. And actually, our neighborhood is called Goose Island, but I don't want to call it that because it's confusing. So we have a near north is an option, and river north. And I like near north, so this is going to be called near north. Then we have a brewery section right here, and then the interchange to the Pennsylvania Railroad. And for my new railroad, I'm going to make several separate videos explaining the different areas. So first one will be of the brewery area. Then there's going to be one on the yard area, Division Street Yard. And then a last video, I want to probably call it Kingsbury Light. That's going to explain this near north section and how I came to that design. Now click on the video on your screen if you want to see more layout designs, or contact me if you want a custom layout design for yourself. Thank you all for watching. Bye bye.